Now available in paperback and e-readers, E-Steam Ascension, The Devil is Evil reaches a turning point in the life of this powerful E-Steam series story. Get E-Steam Ascension at online booksellers today. I was watching an episode of Black Lightning this Tuesday, and I saw several things in that episode that were quite troubling. Now, I'd always said that I did not trust the Akils or Greg Berlanti in making a quality adaptation of this show, and that showed in this third episode of Black Lightning. Now, in this third episode of Black Lightning, both the Akils and Greg Berlanti show me they have no understanding of black history or the issues related to the black community being that in the state that it's in. Now, Black Lightning's original premise was that Black Lightning was coming back to deal with the 100, a street gang. And in this premise, we were supposed to see this neighborhood that was supposed to be crumbling and falling apart, in this community that was suffering as a result. But when I looked at this third episode, I began to understand that these people have no understanding of the real issues in the black community. Now, this episode opens up in this church where they're having the funeral for the mother who was killed by Lala in the second episode. And after the funeral, we have this black pastor who says he's going to lead a march down the street to take the streets back from the 100. Now, there's a red flag there because we have this pastor here. He's talking about doing this thing where he's going to march, but then we have Tobias Whale saying he's against the march. And as the episode progresses, what happens is Tobias Whale, instead of trying to deal with things by himself, we have him driving down the street to this place where this black female is. And when they do that, what they're doing is they're emasculating Tobias Whale. Now, that shows is par for the course because Greg Berlanti has serious issues with black men, and if he can find a way to emasculate a black man, he will do so. And that's what he did when he introduced this black female and made her the boss over Tobias Whale. Now, that's as bad. You think that's bad, but things get worse as this episode progresses, because what this black female says in her meeting with Tobias Whale is deeply troubling. She says that these black people can have their religion, and when she says that, it's completely contradictory to what's transpiring in black communities. Now, we all know that the black female is the biggest supporter of the black pastor, and the black pastor is part of the unholy trinity that keeps black communities primarily oppressed with gangs, drugs, and crime. So, in this episode, the Akils give the black pastor a complete pass for all of his historical treachery by trying to omit him from the narrative of the declining state of the black community. Because the declining state of the black community is partially his fault. He's 1/3 responsible for the dysfunctional state of the black community, but this show gives him a complete pass. And then with this black female, they're making it look like she's some sort of overall leader of the community, and they try to make it look like she is the one who's completely in charge of it. But again, that shows that they have no real understanding of things, because the black female is the lowest person on the totem pole in this unholy trinity, because it's the black female, the black pastor, and the white liberal that lead to most black communities being in a dysfunctional state that they're in. And this show gives the black pastor a pass, and then they try to elevate the black woman and make it like the black woman is God. So I'm looking at this whole episode, and it's showing me that most of the writers of this show have no real understanding of why this city is being overrun by this 100 gang. The real reason why this city would be overrun by this 100 gang is because most of the black females sided with the white feminist movement, and because they sided with the white feminist movement, they agreed to go in with white welfare policies by liberals, which was designed to take the man out of the household, and that's what would lead to a gang like the 100 forming. That's the historical context a writer who did their research would follow from. But this whole idea that they're having is so disjointed that it just is starting to fall completely apart as a story. Because I'm looking at the story, you cannot say that the black pastor is a good guy when the black pastor in the black community has never been a good guy. I remember reading Milestone Comics with the Freaky Deke, and they were saying that the black pastor had a role in the state of things in Dakota. So the guys, Dwayne McDuffie, they understood the role of the black pastor, but on this show, we don't see the black pastor in the role he's supposed to be in. We would think that the black pastor would be there going along with Tobias Whale, not working against him. That's just contradictory as I saw it. And when I look at the black female, she's put in this position like a lot of these hoteps and pro-blacks have her, as this black woman is God. And again, it shows me how disjointed things are, and they're going to make it look like Tobias Whale has to take orders from a black woman. And again, that emasculates him and it destroys all of his credibility as a threat to Black Lightning. But this episode goes on and it promotes more dysfunction because we have the daughter who's a lesbian who is being masculinized and promoted in a masculine role. And then the episode shows some scenes of Black Lightning continuing to taser the white cop and not the threat. So it shows me who he sees as the threat, which is the evil white man, but not the real threats in his community. But as the episode goes on, they have this march. It all builds up to a climax where the decent brother, who the other daughter was trying to date, winds up getting emasculated as well. In this episode, he winds up getting shot by the same bullet that barely injures the black pastor because they need to emasculate a black man. And they emasculate him by crippling him and paralyzing him. Par for the course as it relates to most of these Greg Berlanti shows, because Greg Berlanti has a serious issue with black men, and he always goes out of his way to emasculate black men wherever he can, whether it be James Olsen by making him the guardian of the friend zone, asexualizing a Kid Flash or Firestorm, or going out of his way to make John Diggle the butler. He always finds some way to emasculate black men, but what I really found troubling was how disconnected the Akils were from the black community. Because to give that black pastor a complete pass shows they have no real understanding of the underlying issues of the black community. And the whole presentation of that black female boss shows me they pretty much believe the whole narrative of the black woman as a god over the black community. When I look at Black Lightning, I see a show that is becoming more and more dysfunctional with each episode and really isn't giving us that balanced and humanized picture that we got as we watched Netflix's Luke Cage. Netflix's Luke Cage made efforts to elevate the source material in its adaptation, but Black Lightning looks like a show that really makes no effort to try to take this material to the next level. There is a possibly great story of a black father looking to protect his community and protect his daughters in Black Lightning. However, it looks like the Akils and Greg Berlanti just don't know how to execute on concept to give us that type of quality show. If you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to try some of my SJS Direct Fantasy series like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, The Temptation of John Haynes, or any other SJS Direct titles, you may do so by clicking the link in the description box to Amazon.com. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.